It's a great day here at Will to Win's YouTube channel. I am your host, the Keck Filet, and today I have with me Impact,
Hey, everybody.
Eric,
Hi, how you doing?
and the Will to Win, William Craddock. How you doing today, Will?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I hope everyone's doing well. But today is the 26th of March, and it's just the weekend after the first round of tournaments for OP06. And we had some good results. Kind of go quickly over that. Impact went X1 at 2 events, getting top 8. So congrats to Impact. Super huge weekend for him. And Will did go X1 in one tournament. He unfortunately bubbled out, but these things happen.
One tournament. I'd like to point that out.
I did not have a good tournament, but happens.
And then I was at PAX, but that's just my excuse, right? So, but I guess I wanted to see how you guys felt about after the first tournament and where things are, and also maybe a little bit of update on the Patreon and what's going on this next week for people that go to our Patreon. So I guess the first thing is I guess I'll leave open to the floor. How did this first weekend feel with what you played and how the tournament played out?
Sakazuki is OP. Deck is unstoppable.
Yeah, it's
we
pretty
knew
good.
that. We knew the
Yeah.
Sakazuki was good.
Yeah, we knew it was good.
Yeah, matchups were in the margins for me mostly. Really close games all the way. Even if I lost some, it was one, maybe 2 cards max. So overall, it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm gonna say while I think Sakazuki, Black in general is overtuned, kind of call back to Whitebeard. I do think this format currently is more skill intensive and better than OP05. I was really happy with every match I played. I was really happy that I felt like what I was doing made a big difference in the match, how I was approaching a matchup versus OP05. Yeah. I felt like there were small edges, but I felt like your approach to the matchup didn't matter as much. Whereas OP06, I feel like it's just the skill ceiling's there. I think the better players, you're gonna see them winning week after week. I think just looking at the top 8s is a big indicator of that. You saw, Jonas was, I think, top 16 over in Santa Clara with a couple of other very familiar names.
Nikki got X1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you looked at, our regional we played together. Josh was top 8, and then you had Jackson and Holden were playing at the top tables. And I was at the top tables. It's definitely murderer's row for OP06. Mm-hmm. I think you're gonna see all the really good players at the top tables very consistently.
Yeah.
But at the end, Black is still just very overtuned. But we knew that going in, right?
Yeah.
We knew Gecko and Sako was gonna be just a little too good.
Yeah. So it looks like deck choice isn't the biggest thing, but on top of that, it's a skill choice with these decks, and all the good players are playing. All the highly skilled players are playing the hard decks, right?
Yeah, you got to know how to approach the matchups. This is a huge, you have to learn the matchups. You can't just, even Katakuri just can't rely on triggers anymore because decks are a little too strong to do that. You have to know how to play against every deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You also have to know that right now the true masters are playing Katakuri. As you can see, Katakuri won 2 of 3 tournaments this weekend.
Wow. That's pretty big. Yeah. And then I know there was also Australia. Small note, shout out. I guess they had Whitebeard also win, which honestly is pretty impressive. I know it doesn't seem like a real region in Australia, but there's a 400-person tournament going 9-0. That is impressive with Whitebeard, right? There has to be something, maybe say something to the player. I don't know.
He's probably a good player that got favorable matchups, right? Because realistically, at least in my mind, there's a lot of matchups he can't beat.
Yeah, but yellow is also the most popular deck, right? So maybe he just kept queuing into Katakuris.
Yeah,
I could see that.
6 of them on Sunday.
I played 6 in 10 rounds. Yeah.
You played 6
Wow,
Katakuris?
That's crazy. I played only 1. I played 7 Sakamirs though.
I played.
I saw that.
Yeah. I played 6 Katakuris, 1 Yamato, 2 mirrors and 1 Moria. And at the regional in Toronto, I played more mirrors.
Do you guys think people are going to stay on their decks, or there's people going to be switching around based off of the meta at this point? People maybe are trying something more the first week, and now they might shift. Just I'm going to play Gecko, or I'm going to play Saka.
Wow.
I mean, Katakuri seemed like the safe pick going into this weekend. because a lot of people who were gonna play who were playing Sakazuki before were probably still playing it, and Kata is one of the decks that could have a favorable matchup. I don't think Kata has a favorable matchup into Saka. I think actually at the higher levels the Saka is favored, but I would say against the average Saka player, the Katakuri is favored for sure.
Right. We have like a good matchup knowledge for that, right? Like we have a good approach to the category matchup as Sokka. And I think that makes the huge difference. I think if we're talking two people playing, even high level players that maybe don't have the matchup knowledge, I think Kata is going to be favored. But when we talk about people who know how to play the matchup, I agree with them.
Is there a secret sauce, maybe a little hint you can give us here, free on YouTube, and why? What's throwing Sokka down for you guys, like in that regard?
No tips. No.
Maybe on the
Sorry.
Patreon. On the Patreon, we'll have that little sauce.
Maybe on the Patreon. I still got some regionals coming up, but I don't know. I wanna get to 10 cereals. Speed run.
It is
tough.
big information.
Yeah,
like, it is big information. Like just giving deck list and like fundamentals versus our secret sauce, right? Like we have secret sauce for every matchup.
Got it.
That's kind of what lets us have the results we have.
Okay. Got it. With that too, to speak a little transition toward the Patreon, right? It's gone on the rise pretty good this week. And then on top of that, actually, since it's been 1 week, we actually want to update our guides on there. So we're going to be going through and doing a mini update, talking about anything that changed. So that includes things like Eric wanted to go over Reiju again. I'm sure there's things Sokka that changed over the week, right?
Yeah, I want to look into the stage Sokka, and I'll have a guide for that.
Great. Well. And then on top of that, Gecko Moria. There's an updated Gecko Moria guide that's going to come out probably pretty close after this video comes out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Then, I super learned, like, just the course of those 9 rounds. Like, I learned so much with Gecko. It was crazy. Like, I've learned more this last week than probably I've in the entirety of playing.
The best practice for locals is regionals. Okay, that's always been the case. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. So, I mean, how do you guys see this whole rest of the set shaking out? You think it's gonna like maybe just change week to week, or like the stage Sokka builds there now? That was kind of a topic to bring up.
I think the stage Sokka. I'm gonna play around with it. From what the Europeans are saying, it has a better matchup into Katakuri. But I still have to make sure, right? Like, I still want to try it and make sure. There are benefits to the stage. Like, if you have the stage in play, you can use Gecko Moria to deal with 7-cost Mum without having a Kuzan in play.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then it makes dealing with 4-cost minions trivial, right? Like, it's very easy to deal with a 4-cost if you have the stage in play as well. So, very interesting. I do want to take a look. Maybe even try like a hybrid build where you play some amount of events still. Like some amount of Great Eruptions, because Great Eruption is a hell of a card.
Do you think there's any problem with like lack of counter, like in like Sokka, or like at what point do we need to have like extra 2Ks or something like that, right?
So Sokka, there's a lot of tricks to just make counter. Where Sokka's vulnerable is in the first like 3 turns of the game. Because most of the time they're using that time to build up their board and stuff. But when it gets to the later stages of the game and you can start playing Morias, it's very easy for Sokka to just like make like 3 2Ks in their hand. That even if they had none the turn before, right? Like they draw one, they play Rebecca, they play Moria, get back Rebecca, search another one, get back at Tashigi, search another one. Like they just out of nowhere they can just fill their hand with counter. So it's like one of those things where Sokka is really good defensively after 8 Dawn, but before 8 Dawn is like maybe where you can try and find your weakness. Maybe like Yamato could be good. Reiju could be good. Like these decks that attack you big early could be good, but the lack of counter thing, I think, kind of works itself out. Also, depending on how many Sabos you can play, you can filter the non-counter too, right? So it's like, I don't think it's a big issue. But I never found Sokka to be lacking in counter when I played the deck.
Sure.
Like 8-2K is like sometimes feels like too much.
I guess I was just curious if a lot of players are switching around decks this next few weeks, and they were playing this rock paper scissors game rather than playing the game called Sakazuki the TCG. They rather beat Sakazuki, right? And if that's the case, like if Sokka's really popular right now, if people switch off of whatever to play Yamato just to kind of slam Sokka, have a favorable matchup into that, right? And then all of a sudden more Gecko Morias pop up because it has a good matchup into Yamato. Just a weird diagram I wanted to kind of throw out there in case that happens, right? So
I definitely think that for this weekend coming up, Moria is probably the best pick for regionals.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I think Moria.
Five life, baby.
What it does is it crunches Katakuri, and I think after Katakuri's like big weekend, it was a big breakout weekend for Katakuri. A lot of Katakuri in top cuts, whereas Katakuri normally doesn't make that many top cuts, right?
Santa Clara was 6 geckos. To be fair.
Yeah, those are the most represented, I think.
Yeah, but when you look at all the events as a whole, there was 5 events this weekend, right? There was Toronto, the European regional, the Australian regional, and then Santa Clara and the online. Katakuri, on the whole, I think performed best out of everything. And it was also the most popular. So I think going into next week, Gecko is definitely probably the deck to bring if we're gonna assume Katakuri is the deck to beat.
Yeah.
Now, if we're assuming Katakuri is the deck to beat, might be a little bit of a reach, but I do think a lot of people will gravitate towards Katakuri. It's an easier deck to play than the rest of the field. It's just strong. It has like it's like good, and it won 2 tournaments this weekend. It's very.
Yeah,
it's just going to be popular. It's going to be very popular going into this weekend's 2 regional.
God, I didn't think that was that opinion, but I can see how that would be. That's kind of a medium take. I think it's interesting.
I know Eric's going to be on Gecko this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Gecko this weekend.
I mean, yeah, I think everyone's playing Gecko at this point. It's just good. Like it's good. Like it has no bad matchups outside of Perona, but like Perona like kind of falls to like a lot of things, right?
Like I was like I actually my one loss was against Perona in the regional.
Yeah.
But he drew 4 10-drop Dofis. So like I was actually very far ahead. And then he drew 4 10-drop Dofis. So I don't know if it's actually like just playing the matchup. I don't know if it's bad. It's probably slightly favored for Perona.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think it's bad.
But like I feel like nothing just outright beats Moria, basically. Like it's
you're just so tanky, right? Like
yeah.
You're just so tanky.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. Feels like
tanky and annoying, which is 2 good things I like. So
yeah.
It is very much it is very much like Whitebeard. Like like I've seen Will play, he's like he'll have like 7 2Ks in his hand at the end of the game. He's like, yep, this is Whitebeard.
Why do you have a Dawn up? I have no idea. Just I'm used to it. So, all right, great. Any topics you guys want to talk about? Oh, I have a topic. Small side topic for the end of this video. What do you guys think about that Marco coming on OPO8? Any thoughts?
Last on this because
too early?
Might be a hot take.
Too early? I mean,
I need to see more support around it. I think it looks good right now.
My opinion, good card, but it doesn't have Rebecca Hinalucci. You need a Rebecca Hinalucci to make anything broken, right? But of that version.
I think it looks cool, but I think once people really do a deep dive and they realize you're basically either playing like Whitebeard core, so you're playing like Ace from OPO3 with like a different leader. Because there's nothing blue gives you. There's like nothing. Like you could maybe play like 7-drop Borsalino or Mihawk or something if you want like some additional like stuff or like Sanji kind of things. But it's like when you really do a deep dive, it doesn't really do anything. Like it.
What he said. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, here's how I dissect it. So like he cost a Dawn to use his ability, right? Like you have to put a Dawn under him. All the good leaders right now, Gecko, Sokka, Kata, they all break the game in some way as far as Dawn efficiency. Like Kata attacks for 7 for 1 Dawn. Sokka's abilities are free. Gecko puts in a 4-drop for 3 Dawn. And like Marco doesn't do that. Marco makes you spend more Dawn to use his ability. He's not breaking the game in any way. And I think that's just general why I don't think it's very good. At least with the support it has now.
Well, he can attack 6Ks and put them to 4K and attack the 6/4. But that's like Yeah,
I feel like
yeah, I
that's like the weaker part of the effect. I think the part that could be good is the stacking the top of your deck and then seeing if future cards come out that like lets you basically turn that one Dawn into a free card.
Mm.
That's where I think it would be really good. But if
Sure,
it's not
that-
that, then...
That's
you
like
know-
with the Sanji, right? But that
Yeah.
that takes
yeah, but so
much
that's what
time
I'm
to
saying.
set up.
All we have is Sanji. I guess the new Ivankov too, but bringing out a 2-drop isn't really that impressive.
Yeah.
So it's when if we get more stuff in that nature, then I think the
Mm.
card could be good.
Maybe. Yeah, it is a 4-life leader, which, it needs to have something that
Right.
gets him. You need to have something that gets him to 10 Dawn, which is pretty hard. It's really hard to get a 10 Dawn safely, unless everything they have late in the late game is defensive, like Sakazuki, right? So,
Mhm.
It does have the Marcos going for it. Like you can play like 4-cost Marco and 5-cost Marco, and I mean 4-cost Marco with like Rad Beam and stuff, very tanky
Yeah.
too, right?
yeah.
But-
And a small thing too, I mean, it's kind of funny because this whole bottom decking thing, right? Red likes to reduce power, and blue only pops pops levels. That's why black and blue is such a good combo, because it actually comboed with levels and
It
popping
works
things.
together.
But like with red and blue is like, this is not synergized. It's meant not to work together. So
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, let's look at the other red blue leader, Vivi. How's that working out for us?
well, she's actually really strong. It's just she can't
She
attack.
could
You're
attack.
If she
fired.
can attack, that
can
that
attack,
leader's
she's not
broken. By the way, if that
Oh,
leader
no,
can
no.
attack, that leader's pretty strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
I definitely think that they're gonna make more support for that leader in
Yeah,
the
it
set,
needs
right?
help,
Like
right? Like it needs help. Like it needs
Right
cards
now, it's
built
not
around it.
I think it's gonna get blue Whitebeard cards. That's my
Yeah.
prediction.
yeah. Ooh, more red Whitebeard. Why just makes Whitebeard viable again? All the red
Yeah,
Whitebeard
yeah,
cards that come out.
That's why I think they're gonna make blue ones. so they
Oh,
don't
God.
pop out.
Yeah.
It just won a regional. It's still viable, right?
Yeah, it's very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Very strong.
It won the first OPO6 regional too, didn't
Yeah,
it? Or
the
got
very
second
first-
It
yeah.
got second. It got second.
in Japan.
In
right?
Japan, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, still tops.
still good. You can't bring the king down. But with that, I appreciate you all watching this video. We'll keep it semi-short here, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Jack has to go do something. You got
Ciao.
life aggro.